Today is Christmas, and therefore I thought it would be fun to give you sort of a family tree of Santa Claus. Because Santa Claus is a figure that has evolved over the centuries, what I thought I'd do is take a look behind some of the history of this fellow that we now associate with ho ho ho. So let's start with this person here, Saint Nicholas. I think most people are aware of the fact that Santa Claus has a strong association with this historical person. That's why Santa is often called jolly old Saint Nick. But the real Saint Nicholas lived about 1700 years ago in a city called Myra, which is today in Turkey, but at the time would have been part of the Roman Empire. His parents were quite rich, and after they died, he supposedly used his inheritance to show generosity to the poor. So eventually, he became a saint associated with gift giving, and he ended up with his own feast day, which was celebrated by giving gifts. This continued for quite some time, but then during the Protestant Reformation in Germany, things changed. You see, Protestants aren't supposed to venerate saints. So since the feast of St. Nicholas happened to occur around the same time as Christmas, the custom of gift giving was simply moved to December 25th instead. And since Christmas is all about the birth of Jesus, the gift giver was changed from St. Nicholas to a Christ child. In German, the word is this. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it, but in America, it was mispronounced to become Kris Kringle, which is why to this day, Kris Kringle remains one of the alternative names for Santa Claus. But in many countries, it was really hard for people to give up the association between St. Nicholas and giving gifts, especially to children. So in the Netherlands, St. Nicholas crept back into Christmas traditions and became known as Sinterklaas. Meanwhile, in Great Britain, a different tradition had evolved. There, they had a winter figure called Father Christmas, who was originally more associated with drinking and adult partying. He was likely a leftover from the pre-Christian days, when the god Odin was associated with a winter festival called Yule. So basically what happened was that in America during the mid-1800s, these two traditions, the Dutch Sinterklaas tradition and the British Father Christmas tradition, merged into a new figure called Santa Claus. The name and the gift-giving part came from Sinterklaas, but the jolly fat guy part came from Father Christmas. It was a slow process, but if we had to choose one date for the birth of the modern Santa, that date should probably be 1863. It was that year that Thomas Nast, now known as the father of the American cartoon, had this particular drawing of Santa appear on the front cover of Harper's Weekly. This and other depictions of Santa by Thomas Nast became the basis for all other future depictions of Santa and of the various traditions surrounding him, such as the one that says he lives at the North Pole. Then, of course, in the 1930s, the Coca-Cola Company started to use Santa in their advertising. No, they did not invent Santa, but they did help make him even more popular. Before we go, there's one more figure that is sometimes associated with Santa that I'd like to mention, and that's Jack Frost. He's based on the many related old man winter traditions from across Europe, but he's less the embodiment of Christmas and happy times as more simply the embodiment of cold and ice. He's not necessarily a bad guy, he's just, well, wintry. The Old Man Winter tradition is particularly popular in Slavic countries. In Russia, they have a Santa-like figure called Ded Moroz, which literally means Grandfather Frost. And he's based on a mythological wizard named Moroshko, who was in charge of all things winter-related. So that was a quick look at the evolution of Santa Claus. I hope you've had a happy holiday. I look forward to sharing more videos with you in 2020. Thanks for watching.